Batman must battle former District Attorney Harvey Dent, who is now Two-Face, and Edward Nygma, the Riddler, with help from an amorous psychologist and a young circus acrobat who becomes his sidekick.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood,
a weekly podcast where we remove our childhood goggles and put on our adult bifocals to rewatch and review our favorite movies from the past.
That's correct. That's what we wrote.
Yes.
When we started this podcast.
Yes.
So we have to say it every single time.
It would be weird if we didn't.
That's true. If you're just joining us, welcome to our 21st episode. If you couldn't tell, we are going to rewatch Batman Forever.
Yes!
What number of movie is it? I didn't even look.
This was the third
one
in the initial trilogy.
Why did I think it was 4?
I don't know.
That's George Clooney, right?
Yeah, George Clooney and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's when things start to get really crazy.
I can honestly say I don't know that I've ever seen Batman and Robin all the way through.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember watching it all the way through, and I was excited that they had Batgirl.
Yeah.
And I liked Alicia Silverstone.
Me too.
Clueless, obviously.
I was excited for the movie, but for some reason we didn't go see it in theaters, and then when it came out on VHS, I remember a lot of negative press about it, and even at that point I was like, well, maybe I won't like this. Maybe I shouldn't just watch it.
You were susceptible to the sway of the critics and...
Well, critics and then also like classmates that had seen it and said, that
true.
movie was really bad. So,
well, in comparison, fun fact, we're doing this movie because why?
Because I love Batman.
There's not a specific reason. I'm asking, why did you choose this movie out of all 4?
Out of the 4? Because last year, me and you and some friends went and watched the first Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson in theaters.
Correct.
And I had the very definition of childhood goggles when I would think of that movie. It's one of my earliest movie memories, and it started my love of Batman.
Right.
So I was very excited to go see this movie in theaters with you guys, and when we left, there was parts of it that held up very well. I love the fact that it's kind of set in a fictional Gotham City that's set in like the 1930s style.
Yeah.
That part I loved. But the rest of the movie I felt like didn't hold up.
I remember specifically making fun of the lack of range of motion in the suit and thinking, there's no way Batman could fight half these people because he can't turn his head.
That was exactly, all of us left the movie theater and we were all making fun of Michael Keaton's inability to turn his head because of how much restriction he had with the suit. All he could do was throw a basic kick and a basic punch, but to look to the left or right, it wasn't happening.
Right.
So, in a sense, is the idea that started this podcast.
It's true, because that's what got the ball rolling on, wow, that movie was such a big thing to us when we were kids, and now rewatching it, and it doesn't help, but we've said this in the Spider-Man episode. I said Spider-Man. Yeah,
Spider-Man. Yeah. Spider-Man, Schwartz, and Goldman, the attorney at law.
What is that from? We were just watching it.
I don't know.
Where somebody said Spider-Man. Like, I feel like Spider-Man is going to do your taxes. Was that in Spider-Man? I'm going to have to look it up.
That might have been in Far From Home.
Oh.
Yeah, that might have been.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Back on track. Mm-hmm. How we've gotten... Spoiled, exactly. How we've gotten spoiled with the amount of higher quality superhero movies. So going back and rewatching Michael Keaton's original Batman, it still was amazing. It still had that darkness to it that I love, and kind of kitschiness, especially with the Joker. The Joker definitely was still the best part, I think.
I agree.
But there was just things that obviously did not hold up as far as the action sequences, which we've said multiple times on this podcast. So I agree with you. And my favorite Batman was Batman Returns because of Catwoman.
Yes.
And we were just talking about how if that movie was made with the exact same cast, give or take them not aging or them being born 30 years later, we'd agree that they would have given Michelle Pfeiffer a standalone Catwoman movie, right?
And it would have been pretty good because she was a really good Catwoman.
I never saw the Halle Berry one.
Again, that was another one where it had horrible press and word of mouth, so I never saw it either.
Yeah. I think the idea was good. Halle Berry is very famous. She's a great actress. I don't think the execution was there. For my opinion on never seeing it.
I think there was a time period in the mid-2000s where we still were getting a lot of superhero movies, and they just were not well done.
They were cheesy.
We had Daredevil and Elektra and Punisher.
They were going off the success of X-Men
and Spider-Man.
And they just did not do anything well.
They were bad.
I'm sure there's some people that liked them.
Yeah.
But back to Batman, what was your earliest childhood memory?
As far as this movie, it's almost, for me, it was the first movie that I remember the build-up of the magazine covers. We were talking the other night with a friend at dinner, and he was talking about the mugs that they had at McDonald's.
Oh, definitely tell that story.
Yeah. A friend of ours who listens to our podcast, Ryan, he was telling me that when the movie came out, his brother gave him money to go to McDonald's to buy himself lunch and specifically asked for the change back. He gave him $10. And he said he came home and his brother was like, "Where's the change?" And he goes, "I don't have any. I got the Riddler mug." And he was really excited about it, which then that triggered in me. I was like, I remember those mugs. I had the Riddler one. We had the Batman one. We had the Robin one. The only one we didn't have was Two-Face.
Right.
But I don't think anybody partnered up with Avengers and was giving out Avenger toys or anything like that.
I don't even know because we don't frequent those places as much as we used to. So for all we know, I'm sure somebody's yelling out right now.
They were at Taco Bell.
Taco Bell had Iron Man toys. I'm just kidding.
But with Batman Forever, I, being a kid, my favorite actor was Jim Carrey. So then
you didn't tell the best part of that story.
Was it
that his brother beat the crap
his
out
brother,
of him?
Yeah, when he got home and he said, "I got the Riddler mug," his brother then proceeded to beat the crap out of him. Which is also funny because our friend is a big guy. He's 6'2" or something like that. So the idea that he got the crap beat out of him by his brother is almost unfathomable for me. Because I'm like, nobody could beat you up. You're a bear of a man. But back to Batman, Jim Carrey was my favorite actor growing up, so I was very excited that he was going to play the Riddler.
Right.
Which, when my brothers were growing up, they had the Super Friends action figures, and I only had one that I ever got from the store, and it was the Riddler.
Really?
So, by default, he became my favorite Batman villain. So now, the movie's coming out, it's Batman, which I love, and my favorite actor is going to play my favorite villain.
It's a dream. It's like you cast the movie.
I cast it. So, I had the toys, I went and saw it in theaters, I loved this movie. How about you? So now that I've just talked for 10 minutes straight.
No, it's fine. Because I don't really have that much to say about it. We never, and I've said this numerous times, we never went to the movies when I was really young. Mm-hmm. Especially when we had moved to the place I kind of grew up in until I was pretty much an adult out of high school. It was about 20, 30 minutes away to go to the movies. Yeah. We didn't have very many theaters when I was super young. Mm-hmm. And my parents just never took us. But we did rent movies all the time. Absolutely. That was something we did do. And so I definitely remember renting this movie, watching it. My brother, of course, being a male born in the 80s, loved Batman.
Yes.
He loved Michael Keaton as Batman. I remember being really confused as to why Batman wasn't Michael Keaton.
Same.
I obviously didn't know anything about movies and actors and the back story of why somebody would quit a movie or decide not to. You know, I didn't care. Was how old?
Yeah.
When did this movie come out?
1995.
It's a 1995 classic because I didn't say that. I'm just... What's going on with this? Anyway, Batman Forever. So, that's all I have to say about that. I remember watching it. I do remember Jim Carrey being really excited because Ace Ventura was a big movie for me and my brother, and The Mask. He was just having a hot... You know,
He was huge.
He was huge the last, 2 years. When did Ace Ventura come out?
Ace Ventura came out, I believe, in 1993.
Okay.
And then The Mask and Dumb and Dumber came out in 94.
Gotcha. And I'm just looking at the title, or what is the thing? The picture, the movie poster.
The poster.
Wow.
The picture.
I have no clue. What are words? Do I speak English? I don't know. And, and Chris O'Donnell, man, is that such a 90s pick. That right there just ages the movie, I think.
It really does.
Everybody else, Tommy Lee Jones, classic actor. Val Kilmer, he's fine.
Yeah, he's not as... He was big at the time.
He was very big at the time.
He's coming off a Tombstone.
Oh, I love that movie.
I didn't know who Nicole Kidman was at the time.
Really?
Yeah. I was 10.
I guess that's true.
So I didn't know who she was. I didn't know who Tommy Lee Jones was. I don't even know that I knew who Val Kilmer was. I knew who Jim Carrey was.
That's what I'm saying, though, is it's not like I knew who Michael Keaton was. I just knew him as Batman.
Yeah.
And Mr. Mom.
And Beetlejuice.
And okay, he's been in a lot of things.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is when you're a kid, you don't go, oh, Batman is being played by George Clooney in this movie. Interesting.
Yeah.
Unless you're a weirdo, which, we were weirdos as children, I'm sure. But
we are.
I don't really have a backstory on that.
Oh.
I just know that I watched it with my brother. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because it's Batman.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really easy to please a 9-year-old, so.
Yeah.
I would love to know what my brother's impression is. I'm going to ask him tomorrow.
It's a good idea.
When I see him.
Yes.
And punch him in the face. This episode's coming out a month after.
Yeah, so
he's going to be like, what?
That was aggressive. Would you like me to hit you with some facts about the movie?
Yes.
Okay. The movie was directed by Joel Schumacher. So let's get that out there. Ironically, something I never knew until right now. It still was produced by Tim Burton. So I never knew Tim Burton produced this until right now. It was released on June 16th of 1995 with a budget of $100 million, and it grossed $336.5. So it did quite well. Big movies and shows and songs from the time. Big television shows are ER, Seinfeld, and Friends. Big songs were Here Comes the Hot Stepper by Aineen Kamoze.
Let me see.
It's the very top one.
Sure.
Yeah. TLC Creep and Madonna Take a Bow. As you're bobbing your head singing Creep.
Yeah.
And popular movies, Toy Story, Apollo 13, and Pocahontas. The actual number 2 most popular movie was Batman Forever, but...
Oh, so makes sense.
It was a huge movie.
That might be a first, right?
That it was on the list?
Yeah.
I think so.
On your facts of 1995.
Yeah.
What other movie did we do that was 1995?
I think Heavyweights.
That's 4.
That's 94?
We did a 95.
Oh.
It's been so long, guys.
I'm going to look it up right now. Heavyweights was 1995, so...
Oh, why did I think it was 4?
Nana boo boo. Stick your head in doo-doo.
Anyway, do you think it's going to hold up to your high childhood expectations?
I think it's a movie that the older I get, the more I look back on and would say, no, it's not going to hold up because I love the Christopher Nolan ones. But I'm going to say this. It's not going to hold up, but I'm going to thoroughly enjoy watching it.
Okay.
That's what I'm predicting.
I am, and I think I said this in our Spider-Man episode, I am going to try my hardest not to compare it to the Christopher Nolan Batmans, because they are going to be better. Mm-hmm. And honestly, we should do Batman Begins. I think it's been long enough to where it would qualify. Because if you don't know, I think we've only really said it in the first episode, mm-hmm. but we kind of made general rules for our podcast as far as how old the movies have to be.
Yes.
And I think we said anything before 2008.
2009.
2009.
Because it had to be 10 years old.
At least 10 years old.
Yeah.
Because we were still slightly children.
Yeah.
We were in our early 20s. And so we were still dumb.
There's been advancements in technology. There's been clothing trends that have changed. And
so Batman Begins definitely fits in that.
Yeah. 2005. And even Dark Knight would fit. 2008.
Well, Dark Knight is a classic.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to watch it critically.
That's why I don't want to watch Batman Returns.
That's why I suggested this one.
Batman Returns is just so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, for me, I don't think it will hold up mm-hmm. because I think it's going to rely on too much of Jim Carrey's cheesiness. Mm-hmm. I love Jim Carrey from a standpoint that he's Jim Carrey, but it's kind of like the Adam Sandler effect of there were certain things he did in the 90s that after a couple movies did get a little repetitive.
Yeah.
So
I feel, didn't do things
as much
as repetitive because he tried to transition into more serious roles.
That's true.
So he got away from doing the slapstick comedy after about 3 or 4 years.
That's very true. You don't see him starring in Me, Myself, and Irene 4.
Yeah.
I'm just putting that out there, but...
No, he definitely made a conscious effort to try to transition into serious roles, and he did it quite well, but he never won an Academy Award, but he won Golden Globes.
Yeah. So I don't think it will hold up because of that, and honestly, Chris or Donnell? I always want to say Donald.
I'm going to go on record. You're going to say, when we go back and we start breaking the movie down, you're going to say, he wasn't as bad as I thought he was going to be.
I've never been impressed by him.
I don't know that I've ever seen anything with him in it other than this movie.
I saw the movie where he was trying to get a bride, or it was a romantic comedy.
Okay. I know which one you're talking about.
I can't remember what it was called.
Was it like The Bachelor?
Maybe. We'll have to look that up. We'll let you guys know after we come back from the break, or Ryan will just look right now, because it is 2019 and we have the information readily available.
That is correct.
At our fingertips. I can't talk today.
No.
So
why would you be able to? It's overrated.
While he's doing that, I did want to just let you know, if you do want to watch this movie and you don't own it on DVD, like a loser. Mm-hmm. I'm just kidding. You're not a loser. Please keep listening. Vudu has it for free. Vudu has a large library of movies that you can stream for free, but they do add commercials.
Yes.
But I will say I have perused it before, mm-hmm. and there are some gems in there we probably need to...
I think right now they actually have the first 4 up there. You can watch the Jack Nicholson one, Batman Returns, and Batman and Robin as well.
Yeah. And also you can rent it on all of the streaming apps if you really just hate commercials that you're like, I will drop $4 so I don't have to see the same commercial played every 6 minutes.
Yeah. And it's usually, nobody would blame you for doing that.
It's literally, every time I've ever watched a movie like that on a streaming service that has commercials, it's the same commercial mm-hmm. over and over and over again.
Yes.
It'd be fine if it was, 10 different commercials.
There's a reason we opted to pay for the no commercial portion of Hulu.
Because it was driving me insane.
Yes.
I don't like repetitiveness.
Yes.
Anyway.
We are ready. We're going to go ahead and we're going to hit the pausey pause.
We are going to hit the pausey pause.
We're going to go watch the 1995 classic, Batman Forever, and let you know what we think of it.
We'll be right back.
And we're back. We just finished watching Batman Forever, which is a interesting title because usually they do the play on 4 for the fourth movie.
Yes, I feel like, and feel free to say that I could be wrong. This should have been called Batman and Robin.
Yes.
And maybe the fourth one should be called Batman Forever because technically it was the last one until Christopher Nolan started up again. But
it would have made a lot more sense to call this Batman and Robin because this was the introduction to Robin. Although, I was just reading up on the movie, they had cast in Batman Returns Marlon Wayans to play Robin.
I feel like I heard that somewhere. Because I love Marlon Wayans.
I never knew that. So, mind explosion.
Mind explosion.
So, we're going to go ahead and break down our movie, as we always do, with our categories. And we like to kick it off by going ahead and putting our Blender-style Edward Nygma 3D box on our head and talk about some technology.
I just honeyed you.
Because I was
they can't see your hands.
I was gesturing.
And you just hit the mic.
Sorry. But let's go ahead and talk about some technology.
Yes.
And there was a lot.
That specifically, I had noted that it reminded me of one of Doc Brown's inventions from Back to the Future. I believe when it was in the 50s. Mm-hmm. I think it's right when Marty McFly goes to his house after he went back in time and was trying to get help. And he was wearing a similar device.
Which is impressive that movie, Back to the Future, they're in the 50s.
Yes, and the movie was made in the 80s.
And this is 1995.
Yes.
And it looked terrible.
All of the technology in his little lab was amazing. The graphics of the hologram was, I don't know, I've never really seen a real hologram. I've just seen movie holograms and they're always shoddy.
Yeah.
So who knows if they're actually like that. Nowadays they're probably not. But
I was going to say the only thing I ever could think of that was like pretty decent was that Tupac hologram that they busted out at Coachella a few years back.
Or little Sebastian.
Touche.
Parks and Rec.
Bye-bye, little Sebastian. Bye-bye.
It's amazing. My first thing that I noted was the special effects in the very beginning with the helicopter scene.
Oh.
No low-flying helicopter here, guys. It was a high-flying helicopter.
High-flying.
High-fly. And it was terrible.
Amazing. Terribly amazing.
It looked like a helicopter in maybe Grand Theft Auto 3?
Yeah. No, I don't know that there was a helicopter in Grand Theft Auto 3.
Well, I'm just saying, if there was a helicopter in Grand Theft Auto 3, that's what it would look like.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad. Everything about that scene was terrible, but Batman is hanging from a chain from the helicopter. But when it's shot, you can tell it's fake. There's nothing. Yes. It looks terrible.
It looks like a video game.
Yes. Awful.
Yes.
And then I did like when he cut the chain and dropped the vault back down. It literally slid right back where it was supposed to be at. Batman is so amazing at what he does. He knew when to cut the chain at the exact moment.
He's Batman.
That it would slide right back into place. Problem solved.
Pretty much.
Yeah. That was terrible.
The other thing I noted about special effects was the Cityscape. After that whole scene, the first action sequence, they're showing Gotham, and it looks like a 90s video game.
Yes. There was nothing realistic about it.
No. I wish I could go back in time, or my brain could go back in time to a time, I guess, where I didn't know anything better than those special effects. Because would I even notice? Or was I, when I was 9, was I watching this movie and saying, holy crap, that looks amazing? You know?
If I did do that, I hope someone would punch me. Because they were...
No, I mean, but we didn't know any better. Yeah. So, and to us, if that was cutting edge, then it was. I mean...
But I don't think really back to like the special effects that I saw in the first Star Wars, and they didn't look that bad.
No.
Compared to, like, some of the stuff we see in this, you're like, this is terrible.
That's true. And again, my whole gripe on any movies, obviously Gotham is not a real place.
No.
I know that.
Yes.
But I don't remember even the first Batman rewatching it and thinking, I think they did a lot of sets.
It was a lot of sets.
And it was really dark, so it just, dates.
It was a lot of sets.
It just dates the movies, guys.
Yeah.
I wonder if in 30 years, if we'll look back on a movie that had really good effects in the last, like, 5 years or so and go, whoa.
That was terrible.
What were they thinking? The other, was there anything else that you noted? I had a couple more.
I noticed at one point that Bruce receives a phone call from Alfred, and he's talking to Alfred on his watch.
Oh, really?
And I was like...
How did I not notice that?
I was like, well, that's a sweet, like, iWatch.
Yeah.
If anything, that was cool technology in the movie.
I mean, that's realistic.
Not technology.
I'm just talking in tongues right now. Yeah.
Realistic technology that we actually have.
Exactly.
It was pretty cool.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
I thought the computer program that Edward was using to design his villain persona in his apartment, but it was more
like
a hidey hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A what?
A hidey hole. It was just a hallway.
I said layer, and you went, a hidey hole. I was like, oh, what's a hidey hole?
A hidey hole? I don't know.
Hole.
I'm just making this up.
His hideout.
But it was, like, very small. And...
It really was like a hallway.
Yeah. But he was designing his villain persona, which for some reason reminded me of in Clueless when Cher's trying to pick out her outfit. I think it might have been the same program. It has many uses.
Yeah. I did like that scene where it's like the contraption from Big. Mm-hmm. How it would just point over. Like, no.
Yeah.
No. Everything that he was trying to say, like, maybe I'll be this character.
It made me
no.
Like, is it a computer saying no? Or is it him, but he's pretending like it's another personality?
I don't know. Yeah, that was interesting.
There's a lot going on in this movie.
I liked at the end of the movie when Batman and Robin are taking off to go find the Riddler and Two-Face, and they're playing a battleship-style game.
Yeah.
But it looked awful.
Right.
It looked like what Matthew Broderick played on in War Game.
Yeah, which you've referenced before.
Yeah, but that was 10 years earlier.
That's true.
So it was just awful.
The other thing we should have talked about it first. Opening credits.
Oh my lord.
The actors' names are flying at you like an amazing PowerPoint I made in 1999.
Yes.
And
when they would get close to you, they would slightly turn and you could see that the letters were 3D.
Yeah, like clip art.
Oh, it was terrible.
I don't know what to say. We said it before. There's certain times where technology, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
You can do these new things that you couldn't do 20 years ago on movies. That doesn't mean you always have to do them.
Yeah.
You know?
You should have said, this looks bad.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but is it going to look cool in 20 years?
Was it going to look cool in a year?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No. And also, I'm going to just note that I was a little disappointed because, first of all, me and Ryan kind of added a couple more subcategories to our technology category, DVD special features, and soundtrack stuff. The DVD features were non-existent because the movie just started.
Yes.
And that annoys the crap out of me because there's nothing more annoying than a DVD that automatically starts when you put it in. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd put in something, I'd go to the kitchen, grab some food, snacks, popcorn.
You'd like to be able to come out and hit play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's already starting, and you have to run back in the living room and press pause. So inconvenient.
And you can only imagine that a movie of this quality was going to have a sweet interactive menu.
Right. But I guess it's our fault because we bought the 4-pack, right?
Yeah, we bought the 4-pack.
Yeah.
I did like that Bruce Wayne had a sweet slide in his office.
With a pod?
Yeah, he just hits a button, goes into a pod, slides all the way through like a tunnel system.
This is going to be a long episode, guys.
To his bat cave. It's like the thing they have at the bank.
Yes.
Where you put your deposit in and it sucks it up through a tube. Batman has that type of technology.
I'd like to point out that while he was sliding through the tube, that obviously didn't exist. It was all CGI until the end when he comes out of it.
Yes.
It looks like the size of a small coin purse.
Mm-hmm.
It was very short. And then when he lands and it opens up, it looks like a coffin.
Yes.
It's huge.
It was...
But I guess more like a mummy tomb.
A mummy tomb or a coffin.
Because it's more shaped like a human.
Mm-hmm.
But it was amazing.
Delightful. Did you have any more technology?
No, and I didn't really have anything on the soundtrack other than that random song that was in the middle of the movie, because most of the sound, there was no songs really except for the techie music is all I could define it as.
Yeah. I did like when they played, it was Bad Days by the Flaming Lips.
Yeah, that was the song.
And
it was really out of category.
Alexa, who was singing the song, and she told us it was Panic at the Disco.
Yeah. Your Alexa's broken.
We're like, that is not Panic at the Disco.
She answered fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
Brandon Urie was like 9 when this movie came out.
I think he was even younger. I'm 9.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm not 9 now. I was 9 at the time. I think he's a couple years younger than me. Yeah. Not that I stalk him or anything.
No,
anyway.
Definitely not. Are you ready to move on to the next category?
Yeah, let's move on to, kids would call it a throwback. We call it the prime of our teens, where we talk about fashion, which, let's be honest, this has everything.
It was delightful.
Offensive jokes, dated references, and then, yeah, that's about it.
Okay.
What did you have for fashion choices?
My first is Two-Face's half zebra printed suit.
Yes, I wrote that one down too.
Why? I wish they would have played it more like they do on Batman the Animated Series, where he just... It was a different color.
Black and white, right?
Yeah, it was black and white. And the tie, like the knot on the tie was one color, and then the normal portion of the tie was a different color.
He looked elegant.
He looked elegant, exactly. He still has the face and the acid burn on his face.
But is it magenta?
Yeah, magenta.
It's been a long time since I've seen this movie. When he was in the first scene and he had all the... It was like 3 different kinds of zebra prints and leopard prints. That one side and the other side is just normal.
Yeah.
His face, I thought maybe it would be something that would change. Like he painted over his scars and maybe in the next scene he's wearing green or whatever.
Yeah.
And... No, it stayed the same, so I was wondering if he did spray paint his face, or if we're supposed to believe that the random acid that got thrown in his face, which, shitty origin story there, made his half of his face hot pink.
Hot pink.
Hot pink.
But I will say, having seen The Dark Knight,
yes,
I did not like the way they went about it either.
You didn't?
They just kept...
That was scary as shit.
It was scary, but I wish they would have had like almost a Freddy Krueger effect to the side of his face.
But at the same time, when they showed him, it was right when it happened, so it's gonna heal. I mean, he did have a hole in the side of his face too. But most of it would heal to look kind of like that eventually.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing one knock I will say.
Yeah.
Is that they do rush Two-Face a little bit, but
he
has a way better origin story.
Yes.
I wish they would have given him more time. Mm-hmm. Like, set it up, then make another movie with him. Instead of just kind of... They did it all in one movie, right?
Yep. One movie and they kill him.
Hero, villain, dead.
Yeah. But at least they show you the portion where he is a hero. That is my knock on this movie.
Well, they kind of...
They
don't show in this one. I guess they do in the first one a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Very brief.
Yeah.
Briefly mentioned Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
Apparently the acid made him look like Tommy Lee Jones, too. Who knew?
Right, now that we went on a nice rant, what other fashion issues did you notice?
First of all, the costume budget for Edward / the Riddler had to be insane because he changes so much.
Yes. With
wigs, different outfits, different personalities, I guess. At one point he's wearing a tan what is that hat that Samuel L. Jackson wears?
Like a Kangol style hat?
And I was just like, no, dude.
No. It's not you, bro.
You are not Samuel L. Jackson. Please take that hat off.
My favorite outfit that he wore was he was wearing a light up question mark suit. Mm-hmm. But to his defense, he said, "It keeps me safe when I jog at night."
And it would.
So it was awesome.
That was a pretty good joke.
Yeah.
I loved his final outfit. It looked like something he got from a reject pile in somebody that designs ice skating costumes.
Johnny Weir should have worn that.
Yeah. Well, that'd be so cool if he did the hair too, which was amazing.
Damn it. Johnny, why did you retire?
The changes of lengths of hair, I wonder if they had to film all of his longer hair moments.
Earlier in filming?
Like, way out of order and then...
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he had a buzz cut most of the time. Except for when he had
a flat top almost.
In a couple scenes, basically he sought out Bruce Wayne's...
Stylist.
Mm-hmm. Copied his whole persona.
Yeah.
For a minute. So much that What's-Her-Face was like, maybe I should hit on him.
Yeah. You were like, maybe they're going to swap partners and Bruce is going to go off with...
He was interested.
Someone else. And we'll get into that
He was interested.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris O'Donnell's sideburns.
Yes.
Were trying to meet each other in the middle. They were cut so sharp. It reminded me of contour. Like when you're contouring your face.
If they had just trimmed him up
just
a millimeter higher, there wouldn't be this weird, sharp point coming out.
He's pointing to, this is my face.
Yeah. Another issue is how old is he supposed to be?
We decided, well, he had to be a teenager because why would Bruce Wayne
take him in
if he's an adult?
But he's able to drive.
Well, yeah. His family worked for a circus.
And he's got a good...
Like they were high on the parental responsibility.
And like a 5 o'clock shadow.
That's true. He is 25 in this movie. The actor.
The actor.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I thought he looked a little too old to be playing a teenager, and it's very confusing. That was it that I had for fashion.
The only other thing that I had was the Riddler around his mask.
Yeah.
They didn't blend his makeup well.
You should have asked Batman for tips.
It looked weird. And then anytime they did a close-up on Nicole Kidman as Chase Meridian, you could tell they just caked on the makeup.
They kind of did, yeah.
Which is weird because I'm like, she's a really pretty person. You don't have to load makeup on that person's face.
That's true.
But those were it for my fashion choices.
Fashion choices. Are you a robot now?
Yeah. Yes.
What about dated references?
I did come up with one during your favorite scene, the beginning helicopter scene.
Yes.
Batman is in the vault with the employee, I think, that's kind of trapped in there. Mm-hmm. And Two-Face has taken over the controls to the helicopter. And the way he locks it into, like, autopilot is he throws a club on the steering wheel. So
another
random.
Appearance from a club.
Yes. Yeah. That was the only one I had.
The only thing I noted was Dick Grayson's appearance was, to me, dating the movie, like I noted a couple minutes ago, the sideburns and his helmet, his motorcycle helmet that had a spray painted robin on it. Mm-hmm. It reminded me something that you'd see in the 90s, and his leather jacket did too.
Yes.
And then it was just kind of the opposite versus how Chase, Nicole Kidman's character, looks like she stepped out of a 1940s noir, which I know Batman is kind of noir-y.
Noir, yeah.
So, of course, she's going to look that way. And everybody else, all the extras, like when they were at Edward's or the Riddler's launch party.
I would call it a launch party.
Everybody was wearing kind of old-timey clothes. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things that's kind of confusing because they obviously have modern technology in the sense that they have computers and cell phones and all these gadgets, but everybody's dressed like it's 1945.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not complaining.
No, that's one of the aspects that I felt like the Joel Schumacher kept from the Tim Burton style was kept that 1940 noir style.
Right.
Which I did like.
Me too. Me too. Hey guys, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Podcoin app.
Yes! The Podcoin app. It pays you to listen to Ruining Our Childhood, as well as your other favorite podcasts. You can use the Podcoin you earn to claim gift cards for some of your favorite stores.
What? Starbucks?
Check.
Amazon?
Correct.
Target. Seriously, guys, this is pretty legit. Join the Podcoin app today on iPhone or Android, and I said join, but I meant download.
You've got to download
and
it.
use code RUINING to get 300 Podcoin just for signing up.
That's 300 Podcoin for using RUINING.
That's how you spell ruining, just in case you don't know that.
Yes.
So if you're basically listening to podcasts all day anyways while you're working or driving or doing anything, might as well make some money off the deal. Am I right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, free coffee for something you're already doing sounds fantastic.
It does sound fantastic.
Take a shot.
So go give the Podcoin app a try today. And also don't forget to listen to Ruining Our Childhood and make some money, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Are you ready to move on to our next category?
Yes.
We're going to move on to our category that we call Well, Hello There. It's where we talk about any cameos of famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we forgot were in the movie. And there was some doozies.
There were some great ones.
Yeah. Who did you notice?
So I'm going to name Drew Barrymore.
Yes.
I felt like I said that weird. Or how I typed it earlier. Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
I'm not trying to say she's boring. I love her.
Yes, we like her.
She's an award winner on our podcast.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I forgot she was completely even in the movie. Mm-hmm. She played one of Two-Face's minions, I guess.
Yeah.
His lady friends.
Yeah. He has one for each side of his personality.
Yes.
She played Sugar.
So she's like the angelic one. I can't talk. I'm having random accents in my...
That's a good way to describe it, though, is she was the angelic one, whereas then Debbie Mazar plays Spice, who's the more devilish side.
Very
of
true.
Him. Who else did you notice?
Ed Begley Jr., Veronica Mars alum, and he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I really can't talk.
No.
I'm like,
played Fred Stickley.
Fred Stickley, who
is like a Wayne Enterprises employee?
Yeah, he seems like a manager. He seems higher up. I think he's supposed to be the manager of the Riddler before he goes crazy. Which
he's Edward's boss.
I have a note about good old Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
He was also the first murder victim.
Yes,
from the Riddler. So
there was an appearance by a actor who is only credited as assistant and has no lines.
Correct.
That would be superstar Happy Hogan himself, Jon Favreau.
It was amazing.
Yes.
He looks so young.
Yeah, he's a little baby.
Do you think his experience from this movie made him go, 10 years or so, I'm going to make a way better superhero movie?
That could be the case.
I just wondered it.
Yeah, because, yes, Iron Man is everything we would hope for in a superhero movie. In this, we haven't even cracked the surface.
We haven't, and we're already 46 minutes in. I had En Vogue.
Yes.
Who was one of my favorite girl groups back in the day. I say back in the day, like I was 20 in the 90s. I was into them when I was 12. But they played girls on corner, basically sex workers. But in the casting, it says girl on corner number 1, girl on corner number 2. So. And
you're like, no, that's
and also that scene that they're in. Basically, Robin is trying to pick up some sex workers in the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Classy.
He's just such a weirdo.
Should we move on? Or did you have somebody else?
I had one last one. His name is Michael Paul Chan. And he just plays a Wayne Enterprises executive.
He had one line.
One line. And I do see he's actually in Batman and Robin as Dr. Lee.
Oh.
But Michael Paul Chan we recognized for playing Data's dad in the Goonies.
Yes.
And we just said that at the same time. Yes.
I remember seeing him and yelling, "That's Data's dad!" I was excited. The Goonies is one of our favorite movies. I'm actually wearing a Goonies t-shirt right now.
Yes, we do love Goonies.
I have 3 Goonies t-shirts. So, should we move on now?
Yes.
I didn't have anybody else. So.
No, that was all.
There was some good ones in there, though.
Obviously some super famous ones.
Yeah. So the next category is yours. So, oh no, it's mine. I don't know what I'm doing. Who am I? Is it even good? And where we talk about the plot and casting, and we name our funniest and most cringiest moments. So sit back and relax, because there's going to be a lot.
Enjoy the joyride, folks.
Oh man.
What do you make of the plot?
It was a movie. Mm-hmm. And it had a beginning and an end.
Yep.
And what was in between was something amazing. A couple of the things I noted. First off, Edward Nygma, the Riddler. How did Bruce Wayne not see him and go, red flag, this guy's a psycho?
Yeah.
He was so intense, his first meeting with Bruce Wayne, that a couple scenes later, when Ed Begley Jr.'s character commits suicide, which we'll also talk about.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like, oh, yeah, suicide. Nobody said, you know that scientist that he was in charge of, that he was kind of had a rocky relationship with? He's a little bit intense. He's a little bit of a psycho.
Realistically, the first scene for Batman and Robin should have been Bruce Wayne has terminated his entire human resource department.
Yes.
As a homage to what had happened.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And then, what did you know about the plot? Or what did you think?
The plot was just... I'm confused as to why the Riddler is doing what he's doing. What was his end game?
To be the smartest man alive?
I guess.
Or melt his own brain, which he kind of ended up doing. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I don't quite understand...
Like, why he was bad?
Yeah. Yeah. And what was he trying to achieve?
He was just cray, man.
Yeah.
He was just cray.
What did you think of the casting choices?
I think that they were fine. All the actors, Nicole Kidman, obviously really good. Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey, Val Kilmer, they're good. I just had some issues with the plot and how their characters were, I guess, made. Mm-hmm. I felt like Two-Face, having seen several different versions of Two-Face in my life, I felt like he was Joker light, or hot pink Joker, as I like to say. Mm-hmm. He's supposed to be, we talked about it the other day, he's supposed to be this person that is almost like Thanos, where he has a good and evil side, and he tries to bring justice, which he said a couple times, that he tries to bring justice no matter if it's a bad thing or a good thing.
Yeah.
And he just seemed crazy and over the top, and...
He does not play the Harvey Dent side of Two-Face.
No.
At all. In the movie, which...
He's just full-on crazy.
He's full-on crazy. And that's what really irritated me, because I love Two-Face as a villain. He's one of my 2 or 3 top favorite Batman villains, because he's complex, and he's fighting the urges at times to be bad, or sometimes he's fighting the urge to be good. All he does is just flip a coin and laugh in this movie. He's Joker light.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later.
I also had an issue with Commissioner Gordon. I mentioned this when we were watching the movie, because I don't really remember him from the first and second movies, because he's barely there. He's literally there to turn on the machine. Who knows what else he does? He should just be called guy who turns on machine.
Yeah, turns on the light. Bat signal.
That's one of the things I do like about the newer versions of Batman, is that they give him, or even Gotham, which...
They develop Jim Gordon.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously in Gotham, he's the main character, so they're going to establish him. But in Batman Begins, they create this person that, in this relationship with Batman, whereas when we start these movies, it's already established, but you kind of lose what his whole purpose is, other than just to turn on the machine.
That is
the bat signal is what the machine is, by the way.
That is one of my frustrations with this whole anthology that they made in the early 90s. Every version of Batman that I've ever seen, and I really enjoy, they've always developed Jim Gordon.
Yes.
Whether it was the animated series, the Christopher Nolan ones, that's an important part. And for whatever reason, Tim Burton went, that doesn't need to be made. We don't need to talk about it. And when Schumacher takes over, we don't need to acknowledge it. And it's very frustrating.
Which brings me, I'm just going to, since we're talking about him, can we go to our funniest moment?
Yes.
So, and I feel like we might have similar funny moments.
I have a few, so.
In a movie that had a lot of laughable parts was when they're at the scene after Fred Stickley commits suicide, and I'm using air quotes because obviously the Riddler, the John Ritter. The Riddler threw him out the window. Or
shoved him.
Pushed him.
Yeah.
His suicide note said, "To whom it may concern."
Yes.
From Fred Stickley.
Yes.
My suicide. And then he wrote, "Goodbye, cruel world."
That was it.
And then Commissioner Gordon looks at the note. He's like, "Yep, suicide."
Suicide. Exactly what we thought.
It wasn't meant to be funny, but it was hilarious. Because I just questioned, how do you have a job, Commissioner Gordon?
Yeah.
You're not good at being a police officer.
And my funniest moment actually was what led to that, when the Riddler puts the contraption on Fred Stickley's head.
Yeah.
And he has him tied to a chair and he shoves him towards the window.
Uh-huh.
And then the Riddler, it was almost like he realized he's going to go out the window with my mind manipulator on it. And he like runs over really fast. There's part of you that goes, oh, is he going to save this man's life? No, he's just grabbing his thing. And then he shoves him out the window and says, ooh, nice form, but a little rough on the landing. He may have to settle for bronze.
Yes.
Just
oh, that's amazing.
Oh, so
that was
good.
actually meant to be funny.
Yeah, it was well done.
What was your cringiest line or moment?
I am just going to look through these because I have so many.
Can I say mine then?
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, I had two, but I'll do the second one because I felt like it was worse. I could have written down way, way more, and my additional notes column is full of stuff. But mine was the second scene between Chase Meridian and Batman. Mm-hmm. Batman saw the bat signal. He goes to the rooftop thinking he's going to meet the commish.
Yeah.
And Chase is there in a short-ass dress, and she is just with her eyes that look like she's trying to get pregnant mentally. And she's trying to seduce him very aggressively.
Yes.
And at one point she touches his chest. And moans.
Mm-hmm.
And then says something about black rubber turning her on. It was so bad. Just all of the dialogue was really, 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 really bad in that scene specifically. That was my favorite.
I will continue on with Chase and Bruce's interactions where Chase and Bruce kiss at Wayne Manor before the Riddler and Two-Face show up, and Bruce almost freezes up and he looks like he's poisoned. But he's not.
He's supposed to be enjoying the kiss.
He is perfectly fine, and he's supposed to be having a nice time.
They don't have the best chemistry.
They have no chemistry.
I feel like Nicole Kidman had to...
drag good acting from him?
Yes!
Yes.
She had to have all of the chemistry for herself, and I think that's what overloaded the literal aggressive bedroom eyes that she was giving Batman at all times.
It's a wonder that there's not like secret videotapes and audio of Nicole Kidman losing her shit on her inept coworkers.
She's probably like, I'm an attractive woman.
Why do you look repulsed?
Maybe Tom Cruise visited the set. Were they still married at this point?
Oh, yeah.
He was like, stay away from my woman, bitch.
Yeah. Hey, Iceman.
He had to look up at him. I'm just kidding. I don't know how tall Val Kilmer is.
Maverick has to look up and tell Iceman, you stay away from her.
He probably is taller because at one point I did note that he was maybe only slightly shorter than Nicole Kidman.
And she's pretty tall.
Yeah,
right?
She's tall.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise is at her waist.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, I do have an honorable mention for cringiest moment, and it's Batman putting on the suit, and it zooms in on like whatever his things are that are on his forearm.
Uh-huh.
And then it zooms in on his chest and his belt and then his butt.
Yes.
Why? Why is it doing this?
This movie is Really? I know there's always been a joke about Batman and Robin being gay, but that was totally...
Because then the next thing, Robin comes trotting in
really
and his
show his nipple.
His nipple and the amount of space they have allotted him in his crotchal region.
You know who...
Disturbing.
It's Alfred. He makes the costumes.
There you go.
He's probably just doing it to fuck with them, because he's like, I have to do your laundry. Don't let fucking Robin do your laundry.
You'll weirdly spin around and flip clothes through the air. What was that scene?
I wrote it down. I love the look that Albert gave him, because I think it was supposed to be him in his mind going, this kid is sidekick material. He'll help Batman out. But what I took from it was you little fucker better not do laundry in my house anymore.
You're getting water everywhere.
You're getting water everywhere.
You're making a mess.
And what? You could literally just hang your shirt up. It takes a lot less time than your stupid little ninja moves.
Alfred's over there getting pissed. I'm going to have to mop up after you, you son of a bitch.
He's like, that's it. I'm putting nipples on your suit. You little shit. I have so much extra
for here.
So much.
Okay, let's. I have a good 9.
I have about that too.
So let's talk about our additional notes.
Yes, which is where I don't know if we ever say these are additional notes. It's just kind of stuff that doesn't fit within our other categories. So we just have this little space where we type out all these things that we want to talk about. What was something you wanted to bring up?
There was a scene where Bruce is kind of standing in his parlor in the house, and for whatever reason they use this weird sweeping crane shot down at Batman.
I thought he was going to get hit with the camera. Yes. It came so quickly.
We both looked at each other and went, well, that was a weird choice. I don't know what the point of it was.
I definitely wrote that one down.
What other ones did you have?
I did want to mention there was a scene when Bruce takes Chase to the circus. Mm-hmm. It's obviously the introduction scene for Robin. Yes. Because he's in the circus with his family. I realized Commissioner Gordon is sitting right next to Chase. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene where they're both talking and Bruce is basically hitting on her and she's just like, I'm into somebody else. Spoiler alert, it's Batman. Yeah. And Gordon is just sitting there pretending to be in awe of the acrobats. And it was just some quality acting. His face was amazing, like a tiny child seeing candy for the first time.
There's a scene where it's when Robin has taken the Batmobile out for a joyride, and he ends up in Skid Row.
Yes.
But the Skid Row was designed by 1990s Crayola.
Yes.
And there's every color. Neon everywhere. But then also Robin gets out and fights about 30 people by himself.
Right.
But we've never acknowledged that he had any martial arts training whatsoever.
Correct.
He just gets out, kicks everybody's butt in Neon Skid Row.
And then he kisses the girl, which is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But I guess she asked for it.
She did. He didn't force it.
Aggressive. No. She was like, if you're Batman, you have to kiss the girl. Mm-hmm. Which I'm like, is that a notable thing? Yeah. Has Batman just been kissing a bunch of women? Like, I saved you from this criminal that stole your purse. Now you owe me a kiss. Creepy. Oh. Creepy Batman. Also, how many times do they have to show Batman's origin story?
They cut to it like 3 different times in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's having bad dreams.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he totally uses as a line to kiss Chase at one point. He's in her office, and he says, my parents were murdered, which we all know.
After he's busted through the door?
No, it was later in the movie. He's back in her office. It's at night. Mm-hmm. And he says, my parents were murdered. That's all of a sudden he's damaged too. and they kiss. Dude, you just used your parents' murder as a pickup line.
You're a sleazeball.
The worst.
When the flying Graysons, all of Dick's family basically falls from a ceiling and dies.
Very, very tragic.
Tragic. However, we do cut to Bruce and Chase reacting to this, and they have the reaction like we would have if we dropped the plate.
Like,
they just watch bodies fall from a ceiling, and they're like, meh.
Somebody's gonna have to clean that up.
That's sad.
I guess the only last little bit I wanted to talk about in this category was that I decided the Riddler looked like Rocky Dennis from Mask at the very end when he gets his like mind melded. He did. If you don't know who that is, look up the movie. It's Mask, not The Mask, to be confused with another Jim Carrey movie. This movie had Eric Stoltz and Cher.
Yes.
And it's about a kid who has, I think he has a disease, but he has a fucked up face.
Yes.
And his name is Rocky Dennis.
That is an excellent point.
Because he had the red hair, and then his
face is
but
very
then he was fine at the very end.
Yeah.
He just had a wrap around his head when he was in Arkham Asylum.
Mm-hmm. To defend something that I enjoyed in this movie, I did notice the fight scenes, the improvements to Batman's costume.
I noted that too. The mobility of the neck.
He's able to throw some kicks and punches with a little more ease. He's able to turn his head slightly better, just not too much.
For sure.
And lastly, Robin had to come to like Bruce's aid and save him, and they're back at the Batcave, and Robin's like, a thank you would be nice. Bruce comes out, and you can tell he had just gotten out of the shower, and he's wearing sweatpants. You're a billionaire? You're wearing sweatpants.
But that scene, he went through the one door, because do you remember when I said, who is he talking to? Yeah. He just left. Alfred and Bruce just walked out of the cave, and he's having a monologue talking about why Batman should let him join him. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Yes. As you guys know, it's always award season. We give out 2. The first is the valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting. Who did you give your award to?
I think I turned to you at one point and said, I'm going to have a really hard time deciding who to give this award to because there's a lot of excellent candidates for overacting, just bad acting.
Yes.
I gave it to Chris O'Donnell.
Okay.
Because I want to say I tried to go into this movie with an open mind. I know I made a little joke about him in the beginning of the movie, or beginning of this podcast, before we watched the movie. I don't think he would be the worst part of the movie, but the first few scenes where he's an acrobat is completely fine. Mm-hmm. But every scene after his family dies is horrible, and he's totally extra, and he's annoying as shit and cocky.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's just telling Alfred and Bruce that he should be one of them, and it's like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, we don't know you.
Yeah. You're 12. Calm down. Shave your sideburns.
Yeah.
Stop pretending you're Luke Perry.
When it was so stupid, he comes out and he's flipping around the entryway of the house doing parkour.
Is it when he was trying to get into the Batcave?
Yeah.
I feel like I knew what he was trying to do. Mm-hmm. He knew Alfred was going to go in the Batcave, and if Alfred knew he was all the way up there, that he'd be more comfortable going into the Batcave, knowing that Robin was all the way up there and there's no way he could get to the door. Or you could have just pretended not to be there and be around the corner and just slide in like a normal person would, not do 30 tricks just to get down there. And then have a very graceful landing.
And crash into a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
The amount of damage he did to Wayne Manor. Disturbing.
Right? You think Bruce Wayne is just at one point going, why did I let this little shit in my house?
Yeah. Awful.
He's the worst. Who is yours?
I gave it to Tommy Lee Jones.
I had a feeling you were.
As Joker Face.
Joker.
Because he was not Two-Face, he was Joker Face.
I know, I said that.
We kind of hit on it earlier, when we started talking about it, I was thinking to myself, ooh, should I just give away who I'm giving this award to? Because it just appeared as if Tommy Lee Jones watched the first Batman, saw the way Jack Nicholson played the role.
He's like, I'm doing that.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to laugh like a psycho, but that's not really a trait of Two-Face. I wonder if he knew anything about the character that he was playing.
Probably not. He doesn't seem the type to read comic books.
I don't expect you to read comics, but
you should.
Somebody could have came down and sat down and talked to you about the character.
Right.
So, At one point, I felt like he was almost trying to match Jim Carrey's over-the-topness.
Which Riddler is supposed to be.
Yes. He's not supposed to be this. You used to be a district attorney.
Yeah. I think how they did his origin story is a little bit to blame because they chalk it up to him getting acid in his face and it making his left side of his brain crazy. His left side of his brain crazy. And that's just what they say. That's his origin story.
Yes.
Whereas, obviously, in Batman Begins, it's a lot more complex than that. I don't know how it is in, like, the animated series, if they touch on anything.
It's similar, where he gets acid on his face. They play it where he is struggling with the good and bad, and he's trying to create balance and stuff like that, almost Thanos-style story. Whereas this, there was none of that.
Right.
It was terrible.
I want to say this Two-Face is as if Two-Face discovered cocaine.
Yeah.
And went a little nuts for a couple months.
That would be an excellent explanation for why he is what he is. There is no sign of Harvey Dent at all.
I agree.
Terrible.
The only time he kind of seemed slightly normal was at the very end, right before he dies. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
He mentions to Batman, or he says old friend or something like to that effect.
Yeah.
But he's still over the top. But I agree, maybe he was trying to match Jim Carrey's performance, which obviously Jim Carrey is very over the top to begin with, which is why he was a good pick for the Riddler, I think. And now that we're rewatching it. But he was definitely a close second for me because of that. And then the third would have been Val Kilmer because underwhelming performance.
Very robotic.
Underwhelming.
Yeah. Who did you give your Thomas J. Hanks Award for exceptional acting?
I gave it to Nicole Kidman.
Okay.
Which is funny because the first few scenes of her where she literally is trying to impregnate herself with Batman's black rubber.
Hi-yo.
She's really into black rubber.
Yeah.
I almost put her as a very soon candidate to be for the Nicolas Cage Award, but after the movie started going and towards the end, I realized that she is an amazing actress because her face when she sees Batman is so... I've said it multiple times. It's over the top. She has bedroom eyes to the 10th degree.
Yeah.
And then the minute she meets Bruce Wayne, the first few scenes, she's professional.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm a psychologist. She could care less about the guy. She was nice to him, but she wasn't looking at him like, let's do this thing. But then we pointed out earlier that there was no chemistry, so I wonder if some of that tension that she created, like over tension, was her trying to compensate for the fact that they did not have chemistry, and Val Kilmer was phoning it in, I think, most of the movie, and was very stiff. Even as Bruce Wayne, when Bruce Wayne is supposed to be a little more charming and a little more of a playboy, he's supposed to be a lot different than Batman, because that's the whole point. He's hiding his persona, and he did not do a good job of hiding his persona.
No.
To the point where at one point he yells out, "I'm Batman," and he failed at that even.
He's just terrible.
Who is yours?
I gave it to my all-time favorite actor, Mr. Jim Carrey.
Nice. I thought you were going to say Val Kilmer.
No.
I was like, I just shit on him for 5 minutes.
I thought he was hokey and over the top at times when he was playing the Riddler side of himself. But I also felt when he's Edward Nygma working at Wayne Enterprises, he's kind of mousy, little psychotic and crazy. But he shows a different side of himself. Then when he's the Riddler, he's cocky. He's over the top. He's bouncing around. He's almost as if they cast Ace Ventura to play the role, thrusting his crotch at the screen and stuff.
Yeah.
But then also when he's Edward Nygma at his product launch, he's charming.
He's Bruce Wayneing it.
He's Bruce Wayne.
He's a better Bruce Wayne than Bruce Wayne.
Exactly. He's walking around. He's got Drew Barrymore on his arm. He's charming. He's suave. So he brought a little, like 3 different sides to Edward Nygma, whereas Tommy Lee Jones couldn't give us one decent side of Harvey Dent.
Yeah, he wasn't... Nobody was really that complex. But I will say, I agree apart from his 30 costume choices, would probably help with the also personality changes. But I agree, he was definitely better once he had the Riddler suit. Mm-hmm. There was a point in the movie when he was still Edward that I found him a little annoying and over the top. But then once he got in the Riddler suit, it fit. Yeah. And it made sense. Mm-hmm. Should we move on to our final thoughts? Yeah. So, what do you think there, buddy? Do you think it holds up?
Not in the least.
If you couldn't tell.
There was no part. I gave Jim Carrey this award, and it's by default.
Right.
The movie's awful. There was no enjoyable part. From literally the start to the finish, it's shit.
It's very shitty.
It starts with the credits. The acting's awful. You pointed out unnecessary CGI. What? Let's show you a CGI of a building. Go pick a building and use it.
Right.
Come on. Nothing held up. I thought when we were talking about what we were expecting, were we thinking it was going to hold up? And I said no, but I'm going to enjoy it. I don't even know that I really enjoyed it.
I'd enjoyed it for the purpose of this podcast because I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I don't think it held up at all. The special effects, like you said, extremely dated. Just the worst.
Terrible.
The script was shitty. Shitty. I couldn't even tell you what the plot was other than, I guess it's a basic Batman movie. Villains trying to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Batman saves the world.
Yeah.
I get it. Like you questioned earlier, there was no... why was the Riddler so set on this technology? And why did he turn so quickly? Yeah. You don't see that.
Batman didn't want anything to do with this project, or Bruce didn't want anything to do with this project.
I'm pretty sure I pointed out his reasoning was it would raise too many questions probably by the world because it's shady as shit. I'd be all for it if nobody asked questions.
Somebody would notify the Better Business Bureau on us and we would be shut down.
Like I had mentioned, a lot of the performances were either underwhelming, like Val Kilmer's, or over the top, like Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
And it's just a no for me.
No. What's amazing is we're saying that this is a no and we didn't enjoy it. And the next movie in the franchise is widely regarded as the worst.
I'm excited we should do it.
We should.
Maybe take some time.
Well, yeah. My brain needs to digest.
Maybe watch Batman Begins just to...
As a palate cleanser.
Or Batman Returns.
All right, yeah, okay. Something.
Something.
I'll go watch paint dry. It'll help.
We already watched the new season of Veronica Mars.
Yeah. We got nothing, guys.
I'm really emotional about it.
Yeah.
No spoiler alerts, but I'm super bummed right now.
Yeah. Well, by the time this goes up, hopefully everyone that wanted to watch it has watched it, because it'll be about 2 or 3 weeks after it premiered, so.
Let's just end it on a somber note. This movie didn't hold up, and it totally ruined our childhood.
It really did. We ask that you guys hit us up on Instagram at Ruining Our Childhood.
I'm just laughing because you sound so sad.
Maybe over on Facebook.
Yes, at Ruining Our Childhood.
Possibly on Twitter.
At ROC Movie Podcast.
And you know what? Be kind to each other, guys.
Yes.
Don't make anybody ever watch this movie. Okay?
Wait, unless you have children, totally make them watch this movie.
Psycho.
It's amazing.
That'll do it for us. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.